Once again, members of the Fourth Estate, we are grateful to you for enabling many of us and many Kenyans to be part of this process, as it should be. We don't take it for granted. Today we will only have a session this morning because we have 3 candidates. So we will start with 𝐊𝐚𝐮𝐽𝐾𝐝𝐲. Welcome, Mr. Abuga. Please have a seat, and hope you are comfortable. Otherwise, you can adjust your seat to what you like. My name is Nelson Makanda. I'm the chair of this selection panel, and it's a great pleasure to have you. Thank you for seeing our advert and showing your interest, and congratulations for being shortlisted for the same. I want to invite my colleagues to introduce themselves, and then after that we will come to you. Please, Linda.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, sir. My name is Linda 𝐊𝐚𝐽𝐾𝐝𝐲, and I am the Vice Chair. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you for this interviewing session. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Good morning, Bwana Abuga. Mimi naitwa Bwana Andrew Tanui, mwanachama wa chopo hili la uteuzi, na karibu.
Asante sana.
Good morning, Mr. Abuga. Caroline Kituko, a member of this panel. Welcome.
Good morning, Kennedy. My name is Adam Solo. I'm a member of this selection panel.
Thank you, Professor.
Good morning, sir. My name is Nicodemus Bore, na karibu sana.
Good morning, Mr. Abuga. My name is Fatuma Ali Saman, a member of the panel. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Wakili, and it is really nice to see you again. And karibu sana. My name is 𝐊𝐚𝐮𝐧𝐝𝐚, and I'm a member of the panel.
Asante, asante, Madam Koki.
Good morning, Wakili. My name is Evans Misati. I am a member of this election panel, and we welcome you to this interaction session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Misati.
We will now come to you, Mr. Abuga, and briefly introduce yourself, highlight those things in your profile that you think are significant for us to know, and the public out there is watching. They would like to know who is this Mr. Abuga. So do a good job of introducing yourself and why you think that you qualify for this role that you have applied for. Mention if you have any awards or honors, and if you belong to any professional group or society. Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members. My name is 𝐊𝐚𝐻𝐾𝐝𝐲 Abuga. I graduated with a degree in law from the University of Nairobi in 1989, and I also obtained a diploma of law from the Kenya School of Law. I was then employed as an advocate in private practice, the firm of 𝐊𝐚𝐮𝐧𝐝𝐚 Advocates, where I practiced law between 91 and 2004, when I joined the Central Bank, the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, as a legal officer. I worked at the Cooperative Bank of Kenya for 4 years before joining the Central Bank of Kenya in 2005, where I am to date. While at the Cooperative Bank, I managed to study, and in addition to my degree in law, managed to obtain a degree in financial services from the University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology. I also obtained diplomas in mortgage lending and in banking from the same institute. And the idea was really that as I was working for the bank, financial services, I needed to understand more about what financial services are, deepen my knowledge so that I'm able to add more value to the bank in addition to being a lawyer. So I joined the Central Bank of Kenya in 2005 as a senior legal manager, and then deputy director legal services. And in 2008, I became the director in charge of legal services, in charge of communications, in charge of security. And those are duties I've undertaken from then to date. In addition, I've been the board secretary from 2008, overseeing activities of the board, being the link between the board and management, work I'm doing to date. I've also served as a trustee of our pension fund. I'm the longest serving Banki Kuu Pension Fund, which is one of the best funds and role models in the country. Neighboring countries are always referred to that fund by the Retirement Benefits Authority to learn on how to manage pension funds. This is the fund which has put up the building along Harambee Avenue called CBK Towers, in addition to having other properties around the country. So, Chair, that is briefly my background and what I'm doing at the moment. And in all these years, I've been in the boardroom. Boardroom, looking at governance, looking at oversight. I have served currently 5 governors from 2008 when I became a board secretary. Several deputy governors, several members of the board who have been serving during their terms. And I have done a good job in that particular respect of governance and supporting the oversight systems of the central bank. So when I saw the advert about IEBC requiring commissioners and chairman, I thought, no, I think this is a place I now need to join, so that the experience I've had over all these years in terms of governance, in particular leadership, so that I can also support the IEBC, because what we saw in the year 2022 was a sign of really lack of leadership in the Commission. And I felt that with my experience, what I have gained, I can also make a contribution in supporting the team at the IEBC, the commissioners who will be appointed, the chairman, so that we look at the aspect of leadership and oversight and provide direction. IEBC is so critical an institution that we cannot sit on our laurels and watch it not delivering to the Kenyans what it's supposed to do. So that is my motivation, Chair, and my brief background. I'm a member of the Law Society of Kenya, member of good standing. I'm also a member of the Institute of Certified Secretaries, member of good standing as well, and other church organizations and welfare groups, which I may not need to mention here. Thank you.
Mr. Boga, this is a very impressive CV. I hope that the board in Central Bank is aware that you are seeking to step out.
The governor is aware. The deputy governor is also aware. As we talk, sadly, we don't have a fully constituted board. The only board members now are the chairman and the PS National Treasury. For the others, their term ended in December, and I'm sure the appointing authority must be in the process of constituting the board fully.
Yeah, thanks for serving the country so faithfully in the manner you have served. Our economy relies quite a lot on what happens in your institution. So thank you. Madam Linda, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Abuga, in your introduction, you say that you have experience in leadership and governance. Now, besides that, which other skills and competencies do you intend to bring to the IEBC in the event that you are taken up as a member?
I think as a lawyer also, I've done a lot in terms of law matters to do with compliance. I think it's something I will bring to the Commission. As a team player, critical. You cannot survive in an institution for that long without being a team player, without being professional in your work, without being passionate, dedicated. I think these are all critical competences that I intend to bring in addition to what I have mentioned. I'm sure my addition and participation with that of the other commissioners under the leadership of the chair, who is the first among equals, should be able to propel IEBC to a better image in the public and help it to deliver in its mandate. Thank you.
And in your very many years of experience, is there at any one point you have worked in an environment that has left your leadership skills tried, tested, and you have overcome? And if yes, could you please inform this panel about what happened in that particular situation?
Just make sure that it's not something that will unsettle the markets.
I know it. I wouldn't want to comment on market. Those are sensitive aspects. I would possibly talk about the board. Board conflicts. You would rarely hear of conflicts of board being, CBK board being reported by the media or elsewhere. It's not that there are no disagreements. There are disagreements on issues and discussions and arguments. But because of dispute resolution and experience in guiding members of the board whenever issues arise, because of institutional memory and availability of information, perspectives, and documentation and guidelines, these matters are able and sorted out within the boardroom without necessarily coming out to the public. So a lot has happened in that respect within the board. Legal issues, as the director in charge of legal, we've handled quite difficult legal matters, others touching on currency-related issues, very sensitive matters also touching on currency and part of national security. So I've been able to handle working with the external counsel to shepherd those legal processes to ensure successful outcomes. So there's quite several areas. I'm just trying to highlight those I wish could possibly be addressing your question without a lot of details.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that is in order. Thank you very much. I wish you the very best. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me turn you over to Madam 𝐊𝐴𝐿𝐿 to ask you some questions. Council, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Council, once more. So the Constitution has provided provisions for the members of public in an electoral area to recall their member of parliament. Could you explain to us the grounds for recall and the procedure that should be followed by the members to recall their representative?
Yes, Constitution, I believe Article 104 provides for the recall of the members. And the procedure for recall, I think members can raise signatures and petition for the recall of the members. And this should be done, I think, within after 2 years from election, and 2 years prior to the next election, meaning there is 1 year window for which that is supposed to be undertaken. And it is for the IEBC then now to facilitate and progress the petitions. What I know is that there have been issues relating recall regulations.
Okay, before we go to the issues, what are the grounds for recall, and how does that petition get kicked off? How does it start? Then we can come back to the role of IBC and the issues that are emanating from the court processes.
The ground for recall is basically lack of confidence, which I've seen where constituents feel possibly that a member is not representing their interests well.
Council, the Constitution at 104, Article 104 that you referred to
Yes,
earlier,
yes.
has specified clear grounds for recall, has set them out. Can you
Yes.
be specific and tell us what are those grounds?
I may not be very specific on them, and I wouldn't want to really generalize and waste the selection panel's time. Yeah, but I know there is
Okay.
that provision.
All right,
And it-
then let's move on to the second part.
Yes.
Then what is the mandate or what is the role of the IBC in the recall procedure or process?
I think the role of IBC is to basically undertake that process of recall. I would say process of recall.
In which manner do you know? Or we move on to...
Not specifically.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you for
thank
that.
you, yeah.
So let's come back to, let's take another question.
Yes.
What, in your view, is your understanding of the mandate of the IBC insofar as the conduct of referendum is concerned?
I think the mandate of IBC is the constitutional one to handle elections and to do the referenda once the various prerequisites have been met, and that of course involves preparations, education, and drawing of the referenda question, and preparing for that exercise and conducting the actual referendum.
Again, the Constitution and the Elections Act is very specific on the role and the mandate of the IBC in the referendum process. So I was looking for you to take us through some of the things, or what is it that the IBC must do adequately and sufficiently in law for it to realize its mandate to conduct a referendum.
I think the IBC has to handle the preparation, civic education, and drawing of the referenda questions, and preparing. It's like a sort of another mini election.
There have been 2 attempts to amend the Constitution of Kenya in 2 different times, in different electoral cycles, and both of these attempts have both failed. Would you share with us some of the 2 attempts and why they failed?
We have the BBI effort as one of the most recent ones to amend the Constitution, and failure of it was as a result of the courts stopping that particular process on various grounds that it did not meet the constitutional thresholds. So I can remember the BBI initiative.
Can't remember?
Sorry?
You said you can't remember?
No, I'm saying I can remember the BBI initiative here to amend the Constitution.
Okay, what was the issues that were surrounding the IBC issue, the mandate on referendum processes in the BBI case?
I think it was the issue of how it had been initiated, the process who had sponsored the BBI, if I remember well, and it was I think the ruling and observation that the way it had been initiated was not in accordance with the Constitution. I think one of the factors.
That's true. I was more specific to hear the IBC's involvement in the process, because if should you become successful and you join the IBC, one of the things that IBC does and you will be expected to provide oversight and guidance on is the referendum processes, should it ever arise again.
That is true.
Yeah, so what was the fault of the IBC, and why did the court fault IBC in the manner in which it carried out the BBI proposals to amend the constitution?
I remember that the issue was IBC was expected to take the leading role to initiate and prepare for the referendum. But now it had been taken over and was being sponsored, I think, elsewhere. And some of the proposals in the referendum, like those touching on delimitation, were within the ambit of the IEBC, whose involvement then had not been comprehensive.
Thank you very much, and I wish you well. Over to you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. I want to ask 𝐊𝐚𝐮𝐧𝐝𝐚 to also ask you some questions. Dr. Koki, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Wakili, the IEBC has 11 functions outlined in Article 88, subsection 4, supervising and conducting elections being at the core of it. However, in their usual work, they don't weight them as equal or as important functions. In fact, they relegate some of them to their stakeholders, like voter education, facilitation of election observation and monitoring, and especially evaluation of elections. Those are just examples of the ones that, and they focus mainly on conducting and supervising elections or referenda, as if the rest are not important in the electoral cycle. And experience has shown that each one of these functions is critical to contribute to the integrity and the credibility of the elections process and the outcome at the end. And if you neglect any of them, it's going to undermine or sabotage the outcome of the elections. So in a bid now to transform IEBC, this process here is identifying members, potential candidates and members like yourself who are going to help Kenya transform the business of conducting elections in a more professional manner. Given the opportunity to become a member of the IEBC, how are you going to weight these activities or the functions of IEBC equally and allocate budgetary budgets to them so that they are conducted and none of them is neglected? Just give us a strategy of how you are going to link all these electoral cycle activities together.
Thank you for the question. It is true, as you observe, that focus has been more on elections and referenda, other than the other functions, which of course include like matters to do with voter education and matters to do with registration of voters, cleaning up of the voter register, regulating funding as part of the IBC's role. So I agree that there will be need to ensure that the other parts of the mandate are not neglected, and they are also taken up, planned for, budgeted for, and undertaken. But I do appreciate that funding has been a problem for IBC, not IBC alone. I think across government, resources are not necessarily sufficient. So you get that funding tends to be allocated during the year of the election alone instead of the entire election cycle, because some of those activities start from the very beginning and should therefore be budgeted for. So I will, with my other commissioners, as much as possible, endeavor to also prioritize them and organize for their funding, lobby for funding, and ensure that they are not left behind, and ensure also that the election cycle is not centered on the last 1 year. It is the entire process, because planning, budgeting, all the way around requires focus and funding, I think. So those are some of the steps I'll take, Madam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wakili, and all the best. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I want to ask FCPA. Can we to ask you some questions, please? FCPA.
Thank you, Chair. And Banabuga, I want you to bring you home. You told us that you're bringing in leadership and governance skills. And in your introductory remarks, you talked of your experience on what you saw at Bomas in 2022. So as a start, you've been at Central Bank almost all your career. What type of board do you have at Central Bank?
We have an oversight board.
Yeah, generally boards provide oversight.
Yes.
Yeah, there are policy boards, there are advisory boards, there are executive or governing body boards. So what's the nature of the board?
The policy.
What is the nature of the board at Central Bank?
Policy.
It's more of policy.
It's more of a policy board.
If you look at the role of commissioners at IEBC, what is the nature of role that they play?
Their role is policy as well as per their mandate and oversight, but they are full-time.
So what does that imply?
That implies that their focus is their focus and involvement is more closer to management than an ordinary board who meet during quarterly meetings or when need be. And I believe this is because of the importance of IBC, the need for constant decision-making, constant reviews of actions and initiatives, and constant need for decisions.
So, given the opportunity, so how different will you handle that board or being a commissioner, unlike the way you are handling or how the Central Bank Board is currently governing CPK? How different is it, the two, in terms of the approach?
I don't think there is much difference between the two. The only thing I would say is that involvement and engagement in commission affairs is critical for the commissioners, given the specific mandate of the commission. But then, of course, knowing that their role, the dividing line between their role and the management should be the one of noses in, fingers out, meaning that they restrict itself to policies and follow-ups, constant follow-ups, and implementation matrices, keeping a close eye without necessarily finding its way into the arena of management.
What did you observe in 2022, based on your opening remark at Bomas?
I think it is a dysfunctional board, where the board is split. Part of the commission is here, talking of something else. Another one is elsewhere, sending a different signal, giving a different message, meaning that the board was not working together. The communication was not aligned. The purpose of the board was, there was no transparency among even commissioners. That is what I think we
So
saw.
what will you do if given an opportunity at IEBC?
I think what I will do is, as I'm join with the other commissioners, there are things we need to do as a board. I believe IEBC has a board commission charter or code of conduct for commissioners. We will need to have that reviewed and strengthened. If they don't have a commissioner's charter, that will need to be put in place immediately, so that commissioners now learn more to work as a team, learn how to address their disputes and differences within the commission, learn the communication channels, learn the various protocols, and engage as commissioners with one voice. That is something I'll give priority. This will, of course, require bonding. It will require retreats as much as far as possible. And it will also require something I've seen very effective at the central bank called the blue sky. Blue sky is where, when there is an issue within the board, controversial issue, for instance, directors meet informally to discuss that particular issue, engage freely, and develop consensus. I think that is something I would strongly work on with my fellow commissioners, to ensure that we are as a team, and where there are differences are normal, differences in opinions, we discuss them, engage them, and go out as a united front. I think if that had happened, the bombers issues and what happened, I think would not have been there.
Lastly, you mentioned that noses in, fingers out. That's what you said. Now, appreciating the role of IEBC in the election process, specifically the roles that have been given under Article 88. How can the Commission avoid having their fingers in, given that it is the role of the Commission to undertake those responsibilities listed in Article 88?
I think it's the role of the Commission, yes, to undertake them, but through management. And IEBC has structures. I've read their reports, the annual reports, 21, 22, 22, 23, on the activities that they have been undertaking. So you have a sense of a very strong technical support team within IEBC who are able to do that, to do their work and do it professionally. And of course, we have the various board committees to oversee specific issues within the mandate, legal, ICT, HR, and all that, which then report to the plenary. So for the board, really for the commissioners, it is to oversight the plans, the initiatives, the projects the processes and ensure that they are fulfilling the mandate of the IEBC, they are adding value, and that they are cost effective. And to ask questions, interrogate, require reports, require feedback. I think the Commission can do that without necessity of putting in its fingers.
Now, I've heard you use the word management severally in your explanation. Is management the same as secretariat?
In the context of, I think, IEBC, management is really the secretariat. I'm addressing the CEO, senior management team, and of course below them they are the staff. So management, I'm talking of the secretariat.
Is management the same as secretariat? When you say secretariat, you told us you're the secretary to the board of Central Bank, isn't it? Yes, so your team, in the context of a governing board of Central Bank,
yes.
Are you management or you are secretariat to the board and your team?
No, we are management, the governor.
Leave alone. Looking at you, your function, because you are the secretary to the board and your team. So are you management to the board or you are secretary to the board?
I am secretary to the board.
And your team together with you as a head of the secretariat, you are secretariat.
Yes, that is correct.
So is that the same as management, the way you have the Central Bank?
No. It is
but in the context of IBC, you are saying that the secretariat is the same as management. Is that correct?
Secretariat, I meant now the CEO and who is the secretary, of course, to the commission, and management to encompass the CEO and the senior directors who also appear before even the board committees to make presentations and to answer questions.
I wish you well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to ask 𝐊𝐚𝐻𝐵C to ask you some questions. Evans, please.
Thanks so much, Ken. I want to take you to the issue of money. You are working in an institution where when somebody looks at you and says you have been handling issues of policy in regards to money. Now, the Election Campaign Financing Act, the 2013 one, has met several challenges. The first challenge was even at the enactment of the act, part 2 of it, but 1A of it, it says suspension of operation of the act, meaning the people who are enacting the election campaign finance, they actually suspended so that isikue for them, ikue kwa wale wengine. 2017 ikiwe kwa wale wengine, wakasukuma kwa wale wengine. So now, from where you sit, are you seeing the possibility of the Campaign Financing Act being operationalized in Kenya, given that it has met several challenges? And I can tell you part of the challenges was the requirements that candidates open even accounts, which accounts were to be operated by committees and such like. So please, let's discuss that aspect of the challenges of the Campaign Finance Act.
I think it's true, as you have pointed out, that that act legislation has encountered a lot of challenges, especially in Parliament. And if I'm not wrong, the regulations to implement the act have yet to be passed. Another hindrance to it being enacted and implemented. So the challenge is there, but it's a constitutional requirement. It's part of what IEBC is supposed to undertake. I believe that with more lobbying of members of parliament, with more education, with more participation and engagements, I'm sure that over time they will see the sense wherever the objections are and the importance of that law in order to have it now implemented, in order to remove the bottlenecks. So it is difficult, but I think with effort, engagement, I think over time IBC should be able to have now an instrument to enable them now undertake funding, undertake control and regulate issues of funding of elections. So there is hope.
If you get an opportunity and you are an IPC commissioner, what are some of the things you think IPC can do as a commission to regulate that aspect of campaign financing, particularly from the candidates and the challenges therein? From where you sit, you have been a regulator and policy on issues of money. So knowing our people in Kenya, what challenges do you foresee? You see, they usually say, campaign money has no receipt. Pesa ya siasa haina receipt. Those are some of the challenges. So please explain how you can do it.
I think it is difficult, as you say, matters to do with money are sensitive, but I'll do a scientific, I think, study, scientific based on data in terms of funding to demonstrate what possibly a party or a candidate requires, so that I am well informed in engaging the various players, so that I don't engage them with figures from the air. I have something to demonstrate and say, look, we have done a study, this is the science, this is the amount we think could be. We need hygiene in our politics and campaigns, and we need to keep ethics in all this being the essence, I think, behind the funding act. So it is, I agree, will be a challenge, but with those preparations and engagement and data, I think we as a commission should make a good effort to convince the various stakeholders, especially politicians, to allow passage of the implementation instruments.
Thanks so much, Ken, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to invite Ms. Fatuma Saman to ask you some questions. Fatuma, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Abuga, would you please tell us who the key players, both state and non-state players, are in the electoral process, and tell us why it is important to engage them. We know well that these are the players who shape the public confidence in the electoral process. So who are these players, and why is it important that we engage them in IEBC, for instance?
I think there are several key players. I could mention some. Judiciary, a very key player in matters relating to IBC, because the end product of IBC is tested by the judiciary, so they are a very critical player in my view. Parliament, another very critical player, given the passage of laws and the legal frameworks, which are critical for IEBC to do its work. Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, another very important player, extremely critical. Then we have the media. Media, very, very important player as well. And for the media, of course, they disseminate information, they communicate to the public, so it is important that we work closely with them as IEBC in terms of timely release of information, correctness of information, so that the public is well informed of the activities of IEBC. Parliament, engaging them, critical. We've talked short about the funding issue, which requires support of Parliament. So you cannot get that law passed or implemented without their support. So we need to also engage them, sit with them, lobby them, answer their questions, and seek for their support. We, Office of the Registrar Public, the Registrar of Political Parties, I said, is also very important. Working closely with IEBC, matters to do with parties and nominations, etc. I have also government, national treasury in terms of funding, extremely critical as well, and the respective parliamentary committees relating to matters for finance, to explain IEBC budgets, give clarifications, and demonstrate the importance of getting funding through the entire cycle, and not necessarily the last year of elections, and the importance and need for that. And I think those are some of the key ones. I think even the police themselves, another key stakeholder. You need them to provide security for IEBC assets, IEBC personnel. So we work with them as well very, very, very closely. I think those are some of the main key ones. There are several others, of course. NGOs are also pretty important. Observer missions, you know, which are there. Some of the funding organizations, you know, also need to be engaged. They are key to know what is happening, so they are able to sponsor some of the outreach programs and other programs of IEBC. So they are all critical.
Most of the ones you've mentioned, apart from the NGOs and the observer missions, are government. Are the voters important players? Are the members of the public important players?
Extremely important. Members of the public.
Why is it important to engage them?
They have to be engaged because this is where we are building confidence and trust. At the moment, that trust and confidence is very low. So if we do not engage them, then we are continuing to be opaque and not transparent. So we need to have forums, sessions with the public, the Gen Zs now, to also sensitize them about our programs, give them opportunity to ask questions about the electoral process, clarify, so that we carry them along. Actually, they are one of the most critical stakeholder, even without the others I have said, because if you don't have their support and trust, then all the rest will be very difficult to achieve.
Apart from the public confidence, what is the other the result that we'll achieve by engaging all these players? I mean, when IEBC, what is it that the IEBC would achieve by engaging all these players, apart from public confidence? What else would they achieve?
I think you'll achieve by having their support, the public support in your programs.
It will also legitimize the elections, isn't it?
Of course. At the end of the day, the trust and confidence and support, they own up the process. So when the results are announced, being an outcome of a process they have been involved in all through, then everybody will be comfortable. Room for noise, disputes will be a bit less.
Thank you very much, and I wish you well. Back to
Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bore, please ask the candidate some questions.
Kennedy, from your CV, you've noted that you've worked almost for 5 central bank governors. And I'm sure you have seen the different levels and leadership styles of the 5 different governors. Without naming any, what would you say was the best time you served as a central bank, as a council, without putting in names or the years?
I think the best time is when we have governors or others who have been micromanagers, who could possibly want to know everything you are doing, you are drafting, you are see everything, you know. It has its positives, but I think it is a challenge to work. So when you work with a governor who gives you freedom to work, consult, when you have an issue, seek clarification, I think that freedom gives you a sense of responsibility, I think a sense of dedication and a sense to ensure that now that I have the freedom, let me ensure I do the best and without leaving any gaps. So I would think that a governor who gives you that freedom, I think is normally good, not for central bank alone. I think across all institutions, when you empower staff to work and make decisions within their limits, give room for engagement, for consultations, guidance, I think staff get motivated and deliver more. The output is higher than when you micromanage. Because when you micromanage, then it means people don't work, they are waiting for your nod. They are waiting for your green light. If it's a letter, they want you to go through it and endorse it before they even sign. So if that happens across an institution, there will be a gridlock, which affects efficiency.
Now, central bank plays a very major role in the financial sector in Kenya, and in most of the time, we'll expect a lot of news coming from central bank, either positive or negative. And if you look keenly on the news, you don't really see central bank coming out except during the time of Grand Regency. And that time you are also the council of central bank. Is it possible to give us the highlights of the central bank versus Grand Regency?
The Grand Regency was a security held by the Central Bank of Kenya to cover various facilities that had been illegally advanced to 𝐊𝐚𝐮𝐧𝐝𝐚. So in 2008, the central bank sold the hotel, now LICO, to Libyan investors. And after the sale, there was an uproar. There were a lot of questions being asked in Parliament. For instance, the committee wanted to know the details of the sale and what surrounded it, etc. And I remember appearing in the parliamentary committee with the then Governor Njugunandungu, and we did give explanations to the committee on how the sale was handled. There was subsequently the Coca Commission, which was also appointed to investigate the transaction, and we did appear before the commission and made our explanations. The proceeds of the sale were used, I remember, by the president then, Mwai Kibaki directed that they be used to start the LAPSET project in Lamu. So we did appear before Parliament, we did appear before the Commission, we did explain, and we did provide all the relevant supporting documents relating to the sale.
So my last question would be, given the hindsight, will you have, and Professor Ndongo have done it differently in terms of giving out information to the public?
I'm not sure that we needed to give information to the public, because this was a security of the central bank, which was being auctioned to recover money, which I think was the role of the central bank to do. So, but the information was presented, I think, to the right forums when the need arose, and the issue was public in the year 2008. I think those who are reading papers there and watching radios then could saw how the matter went and how it was handled and how it was closed.
Thank you, Ken, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Bore Asante.
Okay, I want to ask Prof to ask you some questions, Prof.
Thank you, Chair. Kennedy, you're coming from an institution that you can say is sublime. In other words, when there is golden bag, the way my colleague Bore has asked you, the heat doesn't go to central bank directly, it goes to the executive. When the dollar skyrockets, the heat doesn't go directly to central bank, it goes to the executive, that you are the regime. Now you are seeking to join an institution in which the heat will come directly to the commissioners therein, including you, should you succeed. My question, therefore, is, as a member of the IEBC, how would you ensure that your decisions and leadership reflect the long-term national interest rather than the short-term political pressures? Because they are going to be there, should you be there.
I think you are right, Prof. There will be heat, certainly, and the heat is on the commissioners. And luckily, I took that heat during the incident that Mr. Bore has referred to. So to an extent, I'm battle hardened. And the key thing in taking it is to ensure that you've done the right thing within the law, within the policies, procedures, and processes. But I appreciate that this type of hit now could be a bit different given the various interests, the various pressures that will be there on myself and my fellow commissioners. I think we can manage this, and how to manage it is what I alluded to earlier, that we as a commission, we have a unity of purpose. We know our role as commissioners. We know the ethical framework within which we will be working on. And I indicated earlier that if we do not have these charters and codes of conduct to guide the ethical conduct of the commissioners, then it will be difficult. But as commissioners, once we appreciate that and we know pressure will be there for sure, the issue would be now as a team, how do we handle the pressure? How do we discuss, how do we ventilate? And that is where I talked about the blue sky issue of saying you don't have to have everything recorded and documented in a formal setup. Meet, discuss the issues openly so that every decision you make is a decision well thought out, whose consequences have been weighed. One of the aspects, of course, of oversight and governance is risk management, risk and balancing risks. So you balance them, knowing what the interest of the country is, not the interest of an individual political party or whichever other force. So specifically, Prof, then it's, I think, the unity of purpose which needs to be developed within the commissioners, trimming of egos, and appreciation of the critical role and the big picture. I think once you stand together, once the heat comes, then I'm sure you are able to handle it and manage it more effectively.
Thank you. My last question. You have served in Central Bank, 5 governors and counting. In a country where political godfathers play a key role, as we were told in one of the dailies recently, in a country where at times you are sent packing simply because you are not my man or woman, what is the magic that has kept a Buga serving, and serving? You remind me of the smiling Attorney General, my good friend, who it's only the constitutional clause that said they have to leave office. That's when he left the office. What is it in you that you think has kept you steady in the job, very high-profile job? And what is it that would make us feel that this is the right man for the commission?
Thank you. Thank you for that. I think it's very simple for me. Professionalism. I've been an astute professional, undertaking my duties without fear, without favor, and guided by, of course, the laws, processes, and procedures. Key. Number 2, I'm very passionate, very energetic, very committed, and very diligent. So anyone, governor coming in and working with me, is able to detect that very quickly and to rely on me. Why I've survived most is integrity. I'm somebody of very, very high integrity. Without integrity, I would not have survived this long, because it's very easy, you know, to pick out somebody who has no integrity and have a case and knock them out. So that is the way I would put it, but I would put it as somebody really who does his job and does it well. Somebody who's a team player. I'm a great team player, somebody who is very engaging, very attentive, very willing to work with others, listen to the various viewpoints, and consensus-minded. So these are some of the attributes, Prof, why I've survived and why I will continue surviving. I think even at the Commission, I intend to bring them over there, work with my fellow commissioners, support the chairman who will be coming, and ensure that we also do well there the way I've been doing where I've been. But I know it's not a single one-man effort. I'm not Superman. I work with others, and gelling, team building, bonding, I think we can do it.
Thank you, Chair.
Prof, just before you come back, I would like to clarify something from Buga. Council, you said in your introduction that the leadership and the commissioners in 2022 demonstrated lack of leadership. What did you mean?
What I meant is that when you see a commission divided with various splinter groups going out there in the open, it means that there is a problem within that commission. And that problem, more often than not, is leadership. Meaning that within the commission, the structures that exist do not provide room for either ventilation, or do not provide room for engagement, do not provide room for dispute resolution. They do not provide room for having an avenue for unity of purpose. And all those lead to leadership. Because where there is good leadership, all the various aspects are in place. When a dispute arises, there is a mechanism for having it discussed and positions taken. Leadership goes with ethical frameworks. Ethical frameworks ensure that you shield yourself from external interference, because that is normally where the problem is. The calls from politicians and other people, how do you handle them? And the best way of handling them is to be transparent and discuss and open and take a stand. That is what I meant, Chair, that if that had been in place and implemented, perhaps we may not have seen the pandemonium we saw. And if it is in place, then it wasn't implemented properly and was not effective. And that is what I think I need to change when I join the commission, so that the next elections, 2027, will be so smooth and so credible that IEBC for the first time will get accolades instead of having arrows thrown at the commission.
Thank you. Prof, do you have some 2 questions?
Yeah. We've called you nearly all your names and shortened them: Kennedy, Ken, Abuga. we had not used Kaunda. Were you by any chance named after that white handkerchief that kept on dabbing the tears a former president? Is there any correlation?
I think there is. There is a correlation. I was named after both Kaunda and Kennedy of the U.S., John Kennedy. So my dad combined Kennedy with a D-Y at the end and Kaunda. Otherwise, Kaunda has Kenneth, T-H at the end.
So that we might have a president in waiting.
Yeah, you never know, bro.
Given that naming, can you name any 3 countries in Africa that are set to go to the polls, either general, national, or legislative elections this year, 2025?
I think Tanzania. It's already hotting up there. Burundi as well. There should be something coming up this year. And I think Seychelles. Seychelles should be another country.
Thank you. Let me take you to a more comfortable zone for you. Name 2 African countries leading in mobile money innovation and adoption.
M-Pesa.
That's
M-Pesa, Kenya. We also have Ghana. Ghana is doing very well in fast payment systems. Tanzania, our neighbor, is also making very good efforts.
Thank you. You have gone beyond 2. I told you that was a comfortable zone.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Kennedy Kaunda Buga. We have learned from you the humility and capacity to manage a difficult space like where you operate. I don't know whether you have any comment or question today for us. In a minute, please.
I think the comment I would make possibly is I've noted some disparaging remarks against this panel being made out there. And I believe that is very unfortunate, because this is a panel created under the law and executing its mandate. And I observe with gladness that the panel has continued to discharge its duties without distraction. And I'm happy about that. Thank you.
Thank you. The panel is seized of the difficult environment within which it's operating, and but we are conscious of our target and our goal for which we want to deliver for Kenyans. And so thank you for noticing that and being part of this process. Blessings to you. There's a beautiful lady at the door who is bearing your certificates. She will hand them back to you as you walk out. The notebook is yours and the pen. And if you so wish, water also. Thank you. Blessings to you.
Thank you very much.
Asante. Thank you. Okay. You can take 5 minutes to stretch so that we can call the next candidate, please. I'll give you 5 minutes. Thank you.